Well, we're live
Five.
now. We're live now for Mental Health Monday. It's the Chase and Shep Show. Mental Health,
MHM.
old
M-
MHM, replacing
M-
the former MCM, right? What is it, Man Crush Monday or some shit like that?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
We got two coming right at you right now. Live and in your face.
I literally do this every week where I forget to mute the video when it starts playing.
Oh yeah.
And then I start talking in my own ear. I'm like, oh, who is that?
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Who is that guy? Who is that guy? He sounds familiar.
What a handsome voice.
So another mental health Monday, another week. We made it.
We made
Congratulations.
we made it.
Congratulations.
I was just
Yeah.
telling Shep here how Mental Health Mondays always seem to be the days where I am the most put out. I am the most tired, exhausted. I feel shitty, and I'm here to spread the knowledge, to spread the wealth of mental health.
Mental health, bro. Yeah, we decided this week we was gonna talk on stress because stress comes in a different forms throughout life.
Yeah,
Much different forms, actually. There's so many different stresses if you really think about it.
yeah,
It's
and
kind
stress.
of
It does different things for different people too. People react differently. For instance, my body processes stress in a way that causes me to have seizures sometimes.
right.
That doesn't happen for everybody, but some people just have a mental breakdown. This week
Hey,
there's been a lot of stress, a lot of good stress, I should
a
say.
lot of good stress.
A lot
A
of
lot of
good
good
stress
stress.
this week, but it's stress nonetheless. And I was talking to the guys today, telling them that I am so thrilled about everything that's going on, and I'm so happy to have all these projects to be working on. But there has at least been maybe 5 times this week where I'm like, I'm gonna fucking explode. I'm gonna literally have an aneurysm because I just have so much on my plate.
Yeah.
And sometimes you gotta, even when it's good stress, you have to make sure to, you know, uh, what up, Corey? You gotta make sure to take that time for yourself, uh,
Heyo.
to mind your mental health.
You
Uh,
definitely do.
for instance, we've been trying to set up a schedule at the studio that works best for everybody, and I took Sunday for myself. I said Sundays are my days, and since it's early on in the show and we just talked about this, I think I'm going to announce this right now. Because Sundays are my mental health days for my own stress management, I'm about to lead by example. Um, there will be no more chase scene Sundays. Moving down to 4 a week, which is still doable, still
Very
manageable,
doable.
and we'll be able to focus on these 4 shows a little bit more for you. But as I was just telling Shep, I'd much rather be making movies than talking about them. I've talked about them my whole life, and it's about time to switch those gears. But for my own mental health and stress management, we're going to have to cut that one. It's the expendable show of the week for sure.
It's sad to see it go. I mean, it's still going to come back in some form because we
Oh,
still do the reviews. We got the reviews.
yeah, you're still going to get me talking about movies. That's why I felt like I could do, like, it's like I could cut Chasing Sunday only because we double dip. We talk about, and we talk about movies on Super Saturdays too.
That's
I
very
still
true.
I
Very
still
true.
get into stuff, but to choose a topic and to focus on it, and like this past week, I kind of made it stressful on myself. But as I was telling the guys today, when we originally said 5 shows a week, we got our 5 shows a week. Yes, it was ambitious, but it was doable because we didn't really have anything else going on. So it made sense. Like, yeah, we can do five
Yeah.
shows a week. Well, now, we have so much on our plates. We have, a lot of awesome stuff going on, and it's just not feasible as human beings to take on that much and not stop and breathe. And so for last week, having to watch all those Robert Rodriguez, I have to. I put that on myself, but I felt like, oh, okay, well, I already said this is what I'm going to do, so now I'm going to have to finish these out, and that's a lot of movies to. I love to watch movies, but it was becoming a chore. It was not fun. It was definitely work to sit down and watch all these movies, especially when it's like I got all this other stuff I need to be doing, and I have to make
Right.
time to watch a
Right.
movie. I'm just gonna sit here watch the movie the whole time, like like when's it gonna be over so I can like either get some rest or do what I need to do or um. But I'm. It's not gonna stop my love of movies. It's not gonna stop me from talking about movies. But for my stress management, it's what I'm gonna have to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, man, that's noble. I always take Sundays for myself as well, dude. It's a day of rest, and it was always said that for a reason. I felt like.
I agree.
S- So I always take Sundays. Wednesdays are kind of a down day for me, a little bit.
That's my
I do the
well,
Yeah,
kind of.
I do the work with the boys in the studio and doing my thing there, but I don't really consider that too much work.
Right.
Um, but then we go live, which again, that's whatever we want. So that's not really too
Yeah.
hard.
I was gonna say my Wednesdays are actually chock full of work. It's not really my off day. That's my editing day, but it's my off day from the studio. I don't have to go into the studio and work. I stay at home and I edit our episodes for the week, our Fridays and Saturdays.
Bow, bow,
And
bow.
whatever else may need done, and then we bring you our live show at the end of Wednesday. So it's still in a strange way, it's my down day, even though I have a lot of work to do on Wednesdays.
Yeah,
But
Wednesdays are good. But today's about Mondays and mental health and stress management. And like I said, yeah, it comes in all kinds of forms, man. And it's like some stress is good stress. I like that stress that you kind of like can really thrive under, dude, and it really like pushes you and makes you do a little bit better than maybe you would have if it wouldn't been that stressful of a situation.
mhm,
Uh I've been in like life stress situations with being in the military to where we had rockets pointed at us at some points.
yeah,
Very, very fucking stressful. Um, yeah, and it's all about for me, it's always been about your mindset with this. I mean, you can let the stress build up and get it to you, but a lot of it's speaking up, letting other people around you know,
mm,
and not being an ass at the end of the day about it. Like just trying to get through it because everybody's probably stressing about their own little things.
right. Like earlier today, we were all kind of involved in a very stressful situation at the studio, but we all handled it in a way that did not make it become more stressful. You know, there was a version of this that was going to become not only more stressful, but elongate that stress. It was going to, like, if we had blown up in the moment over the stressor that was taking place, then this stress would have taken gone for days. You know what I mean? That's that negativity that's going to affect everybody's moods and attitudes moving forward out of that moment. And so everybody today was able to just you know breathe through it and be like, listen, I understand why this is stressful because none of us can seem to find the words we're looking for, and that alone is frustrating and can be you know
Very,
when
very.
like I know there are times where I get real snippy, like I'll be talking to my mom or something, especially in a moment where I am dealing with some mental health issues, and I'm trying to explain how I feel to somebody and I can't find the words, and they're just trying to guess, and then you're just like, no, and you're just getting more stressed out and more angry about it. um yeah, I mean, you definitely just have to breathe, breathe, and
Breathe,
you know
breathe.
look at all sides of a situation sometimes, and never be like, don't be afraid to step away from situation. Like with today,
Right,
I was handling it, but at the same time, I recognized it as the kind of situation that would trigger a seizure for me. So I was like, if this gets to a certain point, I'm going to have to say, I am walking away, not because I am angry, but because I have to. Because if I
right.
don't, y'all motherfuckers are going to have to deal with me all, sprawled out on the floor like you're not, and it's going to become a whole other thing. And we just don't need that. But
Bada
I
boom,
see my
bada boom.
I see the YouTube playing off to the side and it's muted, and so I just see my hand movements, and I thought it looked like I was did some sign language there. Sure am a hand talker.
Let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you. Let me speak to you. Sorry, I was posting to the old Snappy chat and trying to get some people to view in, see what's up.
Yeah,
Get some maybe advice. I don't know. I don't know if I'm qualified to give any sorts of advice on stress management to you. Definitely, because I'd like to, a lot of this to me is always definitely like what works best for you. You know
absolutely.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it's different for everybody, and for me, like, I mean, like I've gotten to the point of being so stressed out, I just kind of like, I wouldn't say ghost everybody, but you just kind of,
You just have to take that time. You just have to take time for yourself where you're just like you disappear for a day or something. I do that where I vanish just to get my mind right. Be like, yeah, not available today. Phone is off the hook. It just can't reach me. Uh, yeah, anxiety and panic attacks are a different kind of beast for sure. Um, but even what you're saying
I
there
get
with overwhelming waves of it, it can still be rough. Anxiety, depression, it's a bitch. To
I
find
get I
really
get
quiet.
weird I get weird bouts of anxiety myself, and it's over the weirdest shit too, because it's never over some like real life stress, in my opinion. It's always over like, oh man, you know, did I not sign out on my computer at work? Like, damn. Like some weird shit like that. It's like you shouldn't, it's not the end of the world, but to me, I'll sit around and think about it for hours. Like,
Yeah,
fuck, maybe I didn't. Maybe I did. I don't remember. Like, it's weird, man. Anxiety is really weird.
that it
It's
is,
a
and
weird one.
and trying to do research on it and find ways to help mass amounts of people. I suppose it's tricky just because it is different for everybody. It's not a one size fits all sort of thing. Uh, when it comes to dealing with anxiety and stress and depression, uh, everybody has to find their way to do it. Um, but I'd like to double down on that. You have to find a way to do it because it's one of those things. It's not going to magically go away. I know plenty of people, and I'd say this is the norm. I'd say this is the default for most people is not dealing with their problems. Is uh, finding whether it's in the bottom of a bottle or what have you. People who avoid their problems all the time are only going to have more problems down the line. Um,
Oh, for sure.
Mage and I were kind of talking on a different subject, but kind of the same thing the other day about passive aggressive people. Like when I lived in Tennessee, I lived with a lot of passive aggressive people, and they always thought that they were peaceful because they were passive
Right.
aggressive. They didn't yell at each other, they didn't like, get in each other's faces, but it was always the most toxic environment. And it was always so
Oh, yeah.
negative and hateful, like and the vibes were just so off-putting to be around. But then there was me who comes from this, my friends and family, like the people I've grown up around. My community is just like we're the types of people who it's like, if we got a problem, we're gonna go, hey, god damn it, like we're gonna
Right.
settle
Right.
this right now. We're gonna fucking talk about this, and we're gonna
Yeah.
we're gonna scream it out real quick. And it's like there's nothing wrong with that. There's a distinct difference between like verbally abusing somebody and like, you don't even have to get loud if that's not your preference. Like you don't have to get loud on somebody. You don't have to shout and yell, but things need to be confronted. And for some reason, I was always cast as the bad guy because I was the person who said, "Hey, what's the problem here? Let's figure this out." Because anytime in my life I've tackled something in that way, where I'm like,
Right.
"This ends now," and I confronted it, it ends. And whoever it is that I may have had an issue with or anything like that, we don't have any issues after that. And if we do, they get settled again, just like we did before, and we move on. We have a good relationship. We're able to like move forward. Whereas all of these passive aggressive people that I've met in my life um, stay stagnant in that negativity and aren't willing
Oh
to.
yeah,
They're afraid of confrontation, and you just
very
can't.
much so.
And that makes sense. I get it. I understand the fear of confrontation, but it's a necessary evil. You have to confront.
Well, you can go about it not being a dick too, man. Like there is a way to like bring shit up to people that's not like at all being a dick or at all being passive aggressive and just being like, "Hey, like what's up, man? Like this, like uh I'd like to say what's an instance of like passive aggressiveness on my end that I know for sure. Like I had about a long while ago, they put little notes up at my job for me.
That's
And
right.
it's like one of those things, like why don't you just come up to me and just say what's up? Like, hey, Aaron, like, what's up with this? There's usually an explanation for every little thing
Hmm.
that could be an issue. But it's just like, like to me, you're right, like you do that, it doesn't get your problem solved because all that's going to get on the other end is like somebody to be like, you know what, fuck you, man.
Hmm.
Like it to me, because I'd just go up to somebody and be like, yo, what's up? Or if I left them a note, I mean, I would leave them a note in a way that wasn't, I just be like, yo, what's up, hey, you know
Yeah,
what I mean, like,
let's talk about it. Let's.
yeah,
But a lot of people hide from that, whether it's confronting an actual person or confronting your own personal problems. People hide from that confrontation and don't want to take things head on because they're afraid of it. People with depression and anxiety, and I've been there, but I've always been the type of person where like I don't want my depression and stuff to control my life. Like I don't
right,
want to constantly be in that state. So for me, what a lot of people don't realize is like you have to feel it, because the longer you keep trying not to feel your feelings and you're like, I don't want to feel sad, I don't want to feel depressed or angry or this or that or negative. Shit, who does? That makes sense.
right,
Nobody wants to feel that way,
right,
but you have to feel those feelings, because as soon as you feel those feelings, just like going up to somebody and going, hey, this ain't cool, like we gotta settle this shit. It's the same thing with your internal monologue. It's the same thing with your emotions. You gotta grab them by the shirt collar and go, hey, we're not inciting violence here, but I think everybody understands what I mean here when I
no, for
say
sure.
you have to feel those feelings, you have to feel those emotions. And once you do, they're not going to have that kind of power anymore. It's over. You felt those feelings, and that's not to say they're not going to linger. That's not to say you're not still going to be feeling those things. But I assure you, life is going to be easier once you have a good cry, good scream into your pillow.
One a
And
day, only one a day.
we when I worked the Schnucks with you, we had the freezer or the dry storage where people could go and cry. That was labeled. You can come
Yep.
here and cry. Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. It was a judge-free zone. You can cry. If I walked in and somebody was in tears in there, I'd just be like, "Oh, sorry. Take your fucking time. I'll see you on the outside." No, it's important, man. I think that's one of the biggest things is to feel the emotions and to realize and move through them and navigate life because you can keep moving on even feeling those emotions like and that's there's a lot of stuff. I mean, last week we were talking about grief and death and stuff like that. A lot of that goes along with that too. I mean, you can be sad and you can miss somebody, but you can still choose to go out there and live a good life and be productive and face all this shit. And it sucks, but the way that our minds are wired and the way that it is one day you'll wake up and it won't be an issue no more.
Hmm.
you know you'll be past it. You won't think about it as much. Maybe, instead of half of your day, maybe 30 minutes out of your day you think
Yeah.
about it and,
Yeah, that's a good
oh
way to.
damn, yeah. And then it's like, oh, next thing you know, you're only thinking about good shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause like for me, that's how a lot of memories work. Is uh once you start trying to let go of them and you let go of those negative ones, then the ones that stick around are the good ones, and then you can think back on them, feel real warm and good.
Yeah. What's up, Connor? Come get your.
Heyo.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
We
is. It is
were
good to
talking
be
about last
open.
week about perspective. You know,
Yeah.
The thing in one of the books I read was talking about uh, I think she was a nun or something, but regardless of what her profession was, she was having her kitchen done or her bathroom done or something like that, and so she had to
Right.
keep looking at tile. Um, and so because all she, she was so invested in the tile and stuff, everywhere she went, she just like noticed the tile, and she realized it was this perspective thing. And the example in that book, it uses that to say, when you're thinking more positive thoughts, when you have a more positive outlook on life, if that's your perspective, you are going to see more positivity. You're going to see more goodness in the world. Whereas if you go around thinking this world is fucked completely twice over, that's exactly what it's going to be, because that's the world you've created in your mind. The power of belief is a very powerful thing. I definitely never thought I'd be the kind of person to be like telling people that they need to have faith, and stuff like that.
Right.
But we've talked about it: mind, body, spirit. It's very important.
That it is, man. Like, and it is a bit of faith, and like you said, once you start, because it is like we said last week, you gotta want to do this, man. You
Hmm.
gotta want to start trying to find the good, trying to find good in situations that are necessarily bad.
Hmm.
That was a big thing for me, and a big turning point was to look at situations that I deemed like this is a terrible situation, but trying to find what good comes out of this situation, because
Hmm.
there could be some good. You could just lay away and just let it be terrible, let it be bad. But that's one thing that I've really done to try to control how life has went, you know what I'm saying, and shit, at least up here.
Yeah,
uh it's definitely been how I react to certain situations, and anymore it's always, because eventually all the emotions, for me at least, fade to, forgiveness and
exactly.
at peace with everything in life and people in life. So I'm trying to leave situations more peaceful and more positive, and like, in with the on good notes. You know what I'm saying? Like, tell people good things about themselves, but be like, I might need some space. Maybe
Right.
need a little bit of space.
Um, and it's kind of like some of the stuff we were talking about last week, with like moments in my life where I've been hurt by people who I've come to forgive now, exes and stuff, where these are situations where I could have sat around and thought about all the reasons why I was angry and upset with these people and everything like that, and be like, they ruined my life. And it's just like, I could live that way, but what good does that do me? That holds me up from living my own life. And
It does.
like exactly like what you were saying, I can step back, and because I'm not focusing on the bad and I'm not focusing on the negative memories, I can remember the good ones. Those are the ones I think about. So when I do think about these people, I'm not thinking about the hurt. I'm not thinking about all this stuff. I'm uh I'm thinking about, what, like, I was in these situations for so long for a reason. It's because I loved these people. It's because we were having good.
Exactly. Yes.
There was a reason you were in this in the first place. Um, you know, So, it's very easy to get out of these situations and be hard on yourself and be like, what was I thinking? I should have got myself out of the situation a long time ago. And it's like, no, there was a reason. There's a reason you stayed in it as long as you did. So it helps take
Very
that.
true. Very true. My bad, man. I kind of threw you off here with my little wardrobe change halfway through.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm just vibing. Like, I'm like, fuck it. I don't really need my eyes for nothing. I can put the sunglasses back on. Throw the little ski whip hat on, like I'm saying. If you enjoy this hat, you can find
Mm,
it at skiwhoop.com.
that's right. Keep your eyes peeled for that skew up video here in
Yeah,
about a
man.
week, or at the end of the week, maybe. Yes, focusing on only the things you have control over makes you see situations as more positive. That is very true. To speak to that, something I started doing when I was living in Tennessee, I used to stress, again, stress management here. Something I used to stress out about a lot was paying bills. And when I was living in Tennessee, I started this new attitude about it, where I would stress out so much, and not only because of the self inflicted stress, but the stress being put on me by other people too, being like, "Oh, have you paid your bills? Are you working? Are you doing this? Are you doing that?" Um, so if I had a bill that was overdue, or let's say it's the bill's due on the 10th, but I don't get paid till the 14th, 15th, at first I would stress all the time about that bill that needs to be paid up until the day I get paid and then go pay the bill. But then I finally had to tell myself, there is literally nothing you can do, literally nothing you can do except wait until you get paid. And when you get paid, you can go pay the bill, and the bill is paid. And the worst that could possibly happen to you is you have a late fee to pay, you know? And it's just one of those things that you just, as soon as you look at it that way, as soon as you accept the situation and be like, what can I and can I not control within this situation? I can't control when I'm getting paid. That is out of the realm of possibility. I can't make this money appear. So the only thing I can do is just not worry about it and pay it when I can pay it. You
Yeah,
know?
for sure. When I encounter a friend or anybody in life that's worrying about anything, that's one of the first things I always ask them is, "Can you? Is there anything you can do, or I can help you with right now that we can actively help change your situation?" And if it's a yes, it's like, "All right, let's get on it. Let's do that." If it's no, okay, well then there's no need to worry about where you're at, man.
Hmm.
Like if you can't physically change this, to me, why even worry about it at this moment?
Yeah. Yeah.
Worry about it when you have a moment that you can. Like if it's a bill, why worry about it? If you know I'm gonna get paid this day, I can pay that bill then. Holler at them, tell them that. The first and things first, with communication, that's crazy. It's crazy how shit works. But if you holler at people and you're like, listen, some shit popped up. I'm gonna
Hmm.
hit you with this money on this day. You're right. You'll probably get a late fee, but you know what? They might be like, hey, that's cool, man. We won't cut you off.
Yeah.
Thank you for calling us. That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Communication goes a long way in all this stuff with stress management, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
Most
Uh,
definitely.
the I think that would be at the top of my list. Like, you want to be good at handling your stress in life, you got to get that communication up. You got to level it up a little bit,
Yeah. But
which
I mean,
it's
today,
a
the
struggle.
only reason we had a stressful situation on our hands was because of a communication problem. A failure to communicate was all it was. And we were trying, and we were all trying, but it was just a matter of, we don't have the words. We don't have the words. Nobody knows what the fuck they're trying to say, and that alone gets frustrating. But you know,
It
yep,
does. That does. Yeah,
communication. It's a big
that's
thing.
a big one, man. That's one that it's like, all right, let's take 5. Let's think about it.
Hmm.
Let's get back to this one. Like
And I had to
because
start practicing. I always like to think I was pretty good with communication, but I had to start practicing something. Uh, you know, back in I guess in 2020, I started really putting it into practice about just like being a little like bluntly honest with certain people about certain things, because I knew myself. I knew situations I had put myself in before and stayed in because I couldn't speak up, because I couldn't say, "Hey, I don't want to be in this situation," and I feel uncomfortable, or I feel this, or I feel that. And so, a friend of mine, I kind of used her as a guinea pig of sorts, where I was just like, you're doing things that make me uncomfortable, and I like you as a person, and I don't want to lose this friendship, but I'm just going to let you know how I feel. And every time I did, yeah, there was those moments where maybe she would get a little defensive or something at first, but like as soon as she realized I was coming from a genuine place, again, like you said, you don't have to be an asshole, you don't have to be a dick about
right,
it. You can just
right.
say your truth, be honest, be genuine, and say, listen, this is where I'm coming from. And more times than not, the other party's going to listen. And if the other party is not having it, that's when you say, okay, I'm walking away. I'm
Yeah,
walking away from this. And if you want to chill and have this conversation later, we'll have it later. But
true.
different approaches to it, for sure.
No, I mean, I'm pretty much the same way in life these days. Like, you get your truth out there. You can tell, especially if it's truth with somebody else, you can normally tell right when you get it out there with how they respond to it. Most people are open and honest. The communication goes a long way, like I said.
Mhm.
So any sort of relationship you might have, that'll be like, if that communication's not there, homie, yeah, you ain't got it. So
Uh,
you might as well just go.
I see you say active listening is a big thing that people don't do any of, myself included. I can agree with that. That's a big thing that I'm not going to say I'm like a pro at it myself, but I do try. I do try to be an active listener. I do have a problem with talking over people, um, and that comes from that exact kind of problem. I didn't have somebody listening to me. I felt like I wasn't being listened to, so now I talk too damn much. And now I always try to talk over people because I just want to get it out before like the window shuts and I can't get my thought out. So it does play a huge part. I think active listening was a got us through our stressful situation today. Of just there were two different ways this could have gone where I could have been like, well, fuck you, motherfucker, like, just like blown the fuck up. But instead I said, you know what, I'm here, man. What do you have to say? I'm gonna shut up. Tell me what you need. And I'm here to listen. Genuinely, even if you're wrong, it doesn't matter who's wrong or right or whatever. I'm here to listen to you, and that it
Right.
goes a long way. It definitely makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and especially with disagreements and shit in life, a lot of that really comes down to perspectives. It comes down to a lot more than just like, oh, this person, this is fact and this is fiction, blah blah blah. A lot of that's how somebody grew up, how they acted, how they were treated, what they got to see. Everything it boils down to perspective to me. So you always got to keep that in mind and listen, because even if somebody's in the wrong, you might need to listen to them, because you might get a sense of why they would even be compelled to take on that argument just by listening to what they're trying to convey, and be able to get a sense of understanding between you and them. And it might be a groundbreaking thing for them. It might be a groundbreaking thing for you,
I
man.
was gonna say, yeah. Um, and to that, actually, it kind of plays on what Connor just dropped in the comments here, and uh, something Mage and I were talking about the other day. I think he and I and somebody else was a part of this conversation, but we were talking about racism in that regard, and how more times than not, it is a example of like nature versus nurture sort of thing, where it's like, if you grew up only seeing a certain type of person, then you're probably going to feel a certain type of way,
Right,
when
right.
like if you always see like a group of black people like committing crime and doing terrible things and doing all that, like that's going to be your opinion until you get out and actually meet other types of black people, people of color, and it is a matter of perspective and understanding. Understanding goes a long way. Communication, understanding, those are two big ones. Forgiveness, not being petty is a big one. A lot of people struggle with that one. I
I'm Tom Petty every now and then, bro. I admit
don't
it.
have too much of a problem being petty. Like when I'm to the point where like I'm petty so little that when I do, it's like a treat. It's like a treat for myself.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna be a little petty today. It's like a cheat day. I'm gonna be a little petty about this
Like a
one
cheat
thing
day.
real quick, just because you set it up so good that I can't pass up the opportunity to be just a little petty. But otherwise, pettiness will get you nowhere. Nowhere. I've watched certain people in my life never stop being petty, and it's like, homie, your wheels are literally just spinning. You have you moved forward in life? Is being petty helping you at this point? Has it ever helped you? Like by proving the wrong people right, you're not doing yourself any favors.
No, yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right, bro. He
Mhm.
says empathy, apathy, and understanding. I think those do go a long way in life.
Yeah, those are all things that there needs to be more of in this world.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, you gotta try to be empathetic. You gotta try to understand. Like I said, everybody's different. There's always a reason as to why people are thinking the way they do, whether we, want to acknowledge that or no, when it comes to certain situations in our life. But like, I don't feel like anybody's any more right or any more wrong than anybody else. We're all floating on a big rock through a fucking void in space. We're all trying to figure our shit out. I do feel like the way life is what's causing a lot of this anxiety in us and depression and stress. We did this too. we did this to ourselves. It fucking sucks to say that, but it's just how everything's set up, man. Like the
My
system is.
favorite advice, man: unplug, unplug,
I
step
mean,
away, man. It goes a long way. Trust me.
I don't even mean that as far as
I
the
know. I'm
social
just saying.
media.
I'm just throwing that out for my weekly Monday, telling people to unplug.
I mean, I don't know, man. I think I don't see. I don't subscribe to the unplug. I subscribe to the turn all your notifications off.
Definitely.
Don't be, basically like,
I
don't
mean,
be
I'm not
addicted
saying
to
you
this shit.
necessarily have to unplug. You can set it up in a way where you can still have your social media and eat it too, I suppose. Where you don't have to see, but social media and stuff. It has really bred this like sort of self-deprecating, hateful sort of vibe in the world these days. There's like a certain way people think they have to be like, and it's like, no, dude, it's okay to like, you know be cool with people, not be, a troll all the time,
Yeah, there's certain things that it's like,
I hate how
like
self-deprecating it's made the world. Like, it's like that became such a popular sense of humor on the internet that I'm not saying it can't be funny sometimes, like meme culture and stuff like that, but it's taken on this thing where like it's gone past jokes and some people are genuinely just so hard on themselves and so self-loathing of themselves because this is just kind of, and then they hide behind that humor too, and you're like, buddy, you're worth so much more. Like, where's that self-love? Like, rise up. It's like you can be funny and love yourself. That's
no, yeah. No,
kind of,
yeah, you definitely can be funny. You can love yourself. I don't know. I've been one that shares those memes myself. We do compare ourselves to each other
Johnny
way too
Cash
much these days.
canceled. I'm just kidding.
I mean, but that was the thing, man. It was when I was doing Johnny Cash and stuff, when I would get down, people would be like, "But that's not you, man. You're Mr. Positivity. You shouldn't." And it was like, "Yo, I can get down too, man. I can have my bad days. I can have my bad times. I can feel lonely. You know what I mean? I can feel like I'm alone in life at certain times. Maybe need that reminder from certain people. You know what I mean? Like it feels nice. It feels nice to be reminded every now and then that people are hype that you're around, that you're here, that you're doing your thing. um I've lost some people, I feel like, damn, because in my head when I think about things, it's, did they think that, they had nobody, did they think that nobody else was there for them? And it's like, fuck, man, I'm always here, why didn't they holler at me, and shit like that. And it fucks with you a lot over the years. Like, this has been years ago that this shit's happened, and it fucks with you a lot, especially when you've had that positivity and you've been that person and try to portray yourself as that person to everybody. Like, I literally had a fucking song where I'm like, yo, if you need me, call my phone. I don't give a fuck if it's in the middle of the night, all kinds of shit. And then after that, one of my best friends, like, fucking year later, killed himself. And it was like, damn, bro, like, I know we really wouldn't, at the time we really wasn't talking too much because we just didn't live by each other, grown adults, that kind of shit, just living life and shit like that. But it fucks with you in your head, being an artist. And then when you start, thinking that kind of shit, and you're like, man, maybe I fucking suck and stuff. And then you got people being like, but that's not you, man. You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to be like that. You should do shit. It fucked with me for a while, for a few years
Well,
there.
that happened today when we were picking out the songs for the projects and stuff, and one that he played today. It's called "Mental Health State." And I really dug it. I liked it a lot, and I told him to put it on that list. And he was, I think, still in a bit of a mood at the time, but he was just like, I didn't think anybody would want to hear this, like, and I'm like, this is what people need to hear. This is the stuff you need to put out for sure. This song for sure. I said, we'll throw that up on Mental Health Monday if we have to, because I think it is. It's that, and that's, that today was the prime example of why I wanted to do Mental Health Monday in the first place. People feel like they can't talk about it. People feel like they have to be okay, and it's like, no, dude, speak your truth, man. Get it out there. Tell us your
Well,
struggle.
no, it's so therapeutic. Like that's so like, and and I mean, everybody's got their own way.
Yeah,
Mine was always music, right? Mine was always music. So with my buddy and like what I was just talking about, I actually did make a song, the Rogue Dudes.
Mhm,
When I was making music, you know, my shit was always positive, happy, all this kind of shit. They're like, yo, but like nobody, because I was going through this shit and I'd be open with them and we'd have talks and they'd be like, but nobody knows you then. Like you need to show them that side of you, that there is this person inside that's like, fuck, you know, maybe not every day is the coolest day, dog. So when I did my last mixtape that I put out, a lot of that was completely different than the rest of the shit I did. And there was a song that I had done about my buddy. And like the whole premise of the song was like, so I like wrote it when I wrote this song for my buddy when he passed away. I wrote like the first half of this song right after I got the news and shit, and it happened. You know what I mean? So the first, you know, that first verse of that song is all, you know, like, why would you leave us here? Why would you do this kind of shit? The second verse I actually wrote a year later. um I came back to the song because I just was like, I recorded the first one and I was like, dude, it's just too much. I can't at this time. I need to focus on me. And so when I came back to that song, it was like after that acceptance, man, that, you know, this happened. You can't change what's happened. You need to grieve. You need to get past it. You need to go. And like the song ends like, because the song is like, you know, basically like, I just need somebody to tell me it's all right. Like that it's all right to feel down, that it's all right to be fucked up, that this kind of shit happened in life. And when it, you know, when it goes back to the last line of the song, you know, I say like, fuck, you know, if I saw you here today, like if it didn't turned out you just played a huge fucking joke, you know, like I just tell you that, you know, whatever happened was all right. Like I get it. Like it's, you know, it's all right. It's in the past. Like it's all love now. At this moment, I only think back at the good shit that
mhm,
we went through. I don't think about that. Um, and, you know, and that's why then it's like at this point, like we've gotten past it, and after that, we started putting out some new shit. You know what I mean? We can get
yeah,
back to love and life because we've accepted it. We've grown, because that's what it's all about. Like me, for me, it's been, you know, growing through what you're going through. You really just, you know, because you have that opportunity.
mhm,
Every day you're alive, you have the opportunity to make it a little bit better. And it might fucking suck for a while. It might not be the best instantly. And I think that's a lot with our world and our society today. It's very instantaneous.
mhm,
It's not going to be an overnight type of thing. You're not going to wake up tomorrow and be fucking happy and go see fucking birds chirping and shit like that.
yeah,
But if you put the time in and you try every day, you know, 2 months from now, you won't have to try.
mhm.
It's just going to be automatic.
I mean, I've been really, truly, you know, I'd say things really started with the anxiety and everything, and that was about 2015. You know, there's probably depression and anxiety and everything that was dormant in me that I was dealing with my whole life. Looking back on it, I recognize that now, but I didn't know what it was until 2015 when things started to get real sour. That pretty much from 2015 forward, like I was determined to figure out ways to make myself better. Especially at the end of 2017 when I moved back here to Illinois, I really shifted gears. And that right there, what's that? End of 2017. We just finished out 2020. So it's been 3 years of that. Buddy, I'm still working on myself every single day. It is still a process every single day. You know, it definitely, you know, I was actually talking to you, and it may have even been Corey I was talking to about this. The movie The Babadook. You know, it's a horror film, but I highly recommend it. As far as it's a great movie about depression, one of the best in my opinion, because the Babadook itself is a metaphor for depression, uh, and it is like this monster. And spoilers for the end of that movie, but they don't get rid of the Babadook. Uh, it was you, yeah, that's what I thought. And At the end of that movie, you know, the Babadook is still living in the basement, and it's this whole analogy for you have to learn how to live with it. You know, it's always going to be with you, but you have to learn how to live with it. And I think the Babadook really does a great way of like exploring that. You know, that's what horror has always been kind of good with, is exploring, you know, human nature and problems and stuff like that. And it does a great job in that one. So it's a good one, I think.
Oh
Um,
yeah, I mean that's been one thing. Movies and comics have tackled the shit, in my opinion, really well. Superman really killed it with suicide and depression, in my opinion. Babadook is what, Badaok.
shot it off in the comments.
I was close. I missed a no.
Bah.
But no, Superman had a really good panel on suicide where a girl was going to kill herself, and he flies up and he's like, I'll just stay here with you then, as long as it takes.
Yep.
And like that was a big one that stood out to me. I remember another one where it's like Superman standing on a roof and Lois Lane and his son standing there like looking at him, and he's just looking depressed as shit, and it just shows everything around him, like all these voices of all the people around the world just hurting. And that, Superman's always been one of those that really tackles,
Yeah.
that side of it for me. John Constantine's always been one too. Constantine. I just was watching. I think it's funny that thing is yeah, Deadpool does as well. Yeah, very true. Um, I was just watching a DC animation last night, and he was in it, and everybody's calling him Constantine, Constantine, Constantine. And it's like it's funny, because they went out of their way in the comic book to have a line where he's like tells a guy like, it's Constantine, motherfucker. Like
That's
it's
funny.
not how you say it, but
What?
like literally, it's always.
Yeah. Sorry. I was just gonna say what you said earlier about like you're Mr. Positivity, and that's how people saw you. And then like when you were trying to be real, people are like, well, this isn't you. Like that feeling that way. I felt that way. I want to say in junior high, like before moving to Illinois initially. I was the comedian, and to this day, I still love making people laugh and making people feel good. I consider that a superpower to be able to be that for people, to make them feel better. Um, but because of that, when it came to me wanting to talk more seriously about things, or be upset or something like that, I just felt like I couldn't. Like it definitely felt like one of those things where like I'd been put in this box of sorts where it's like, no, guys, I'm not like this all the time. I'm not constantly on like this. I have rough days too. Um, and that was definitely, as soon as I felt that at an early age, I was like, I got to change this. And it definitely
Yeah.
changed at that time.
No, I mean it's a real thing, man, and it's a real struggle having this perception, and then people get that of you, and trying to keep up with it. And that was one thing that I, like as a musician is an obstacle for on its own for me to tackle, which I don't know. You know, you could argue I did, you could argue I didn't. I don't know, it's a matter of an opinion, but like I felt like I did good. I felt like that last album I did really humbled me. That was like 2017. Was going through a lot of shit at time that we was going into it. And like I said, I kind of opened myself up. I kind of did more songs um, about how I felt about the world, relationships. Like I said, my friend that passed away.
Mhm.
Well, two friends, but I mainly talked about the one. Um, and then and then I was like, okay, so obviously on my, if you probably nobody's really followed my rap career here, but like the other albums I did before that, I did three. Well, I did three. We played one last week. So I usually ended them on a very serious note. You know what I'm saying? Most of the albums were fun, party tracks. And then the last one would be like, here's an actual serious one. So this one, I was like, oh, it'd be fun to, at the time, I was like, it'd be fun to do this one in reverse. I was more serious. I was doing, more emotional, type shit through this whole thing. So we should end it on a really fun song about love and life being good. Um, and I wrote this song at the time, and then it was like life was good. So I wrote this song called like, oh, I'm living in the best days that I've had, man. Like I had, all my boys with me and all this stuff. We was doing shit with Rogue left and right. I was married, shit was great. And then it was like, I wrote this song, and when it came time to record it, it was like my grandmother passed away. I was getting divorced. All this just terrible shit that just put me into the biggest depression I was ever in. And every day going to record this song or working on a song where I am talking like I'm living in the best days that I've had was rough, man. It was
Yeah.
an obstacle. It was a mental obstacle to have to get through. And then it was like, obviously, it was one of those songs I wrote that was good to play live. So then when people wanted to hear it live, it was like, here's another one we have to jump through because I don't really want to play the song live. Like I fuck this song. Like if you ask me, it's like, well, fuck this song, man, because of what I had to go through at the time. But we got, I got through it, and I played the song live. And one of my favorite things about that was I think I played it. We had like some show, like on a Friday, right? And I played that song, and then like on a Monday night, I went to like the open mic and I played it again. Like, hey, here's a new one. I'm just kind of practicing this. And somebody that was at our show that night was there on Monday, and they were singing along to the hook and shit like that. And it's like, damn, that makes you feel good as an artist because it's like, okay, it caught on that easy with somebody, but
Yeah.
it's like, fuck, it
So,
caught on that easy. Like now I have to play this fucking song, and I really don't want to, but
yeah.
I love it now. Like, it reminds me of a lot of emotions when I listen to it now. But again, like it was about, I had to step back at that time because like it wasn't too long after that. I think probably like half a year after I put that album out, maybe a year, that the Rogues, we decided to step on back. And I could really take a step back and just go back to myself and, watch all my boys go blossom and do their things and kind of get myself better because I wasn't the Johnny Cash that I had been at
Yeah.
that point in life. And now they're like, fuck, here we are. We're back at it. So it's like, shit, obviously I fucking did the right choice and I did the right thing because things are going well. I've kept all my relationships with everybody that I've wanted to in life.
Connor.
Say what?
Connor asked a question in the comments. He said, "Where can I go to hear these songs you guys mentioned?"
Oh,
ChaseandShep.com is the hub for everything. There's a
yeah.
subsection with Chase and Shep music, so all of Shep's music is there. Mine is as well, and that should take you to the SoundCloud, and you can find all that. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, they're all right on there. The last mixtape I did would be like all the most recent shit. Yeah, on there. Then I'm talking all this stuff. A lot of stuff. And hey, no problem, bro. And that me. So if you ever want a more in-depth explanation on it, because I feel like my last album I did does tell a story, but it's not an in-your-face story. It's
mm-hmm.
one of those you gotta
Got to
you
work.
gotta you gotta sense it. But I feel like it does. But I don't know, man. Music's like that, dude. And like I said, it was therapeutic. And now when you listen to those songs and play them, and
We
we're back, we're doing
last
our thing.
on Monday we were talking about how as artists we get the opportunity to work through shit in this way. When people aren't artistic and don't have this sort of outlet, sometimes it's harder for them. But us, we have the opportunity to work through our problems in an artistic, creative way. And for me, I mentioned last week that there would often be times where I'd make a character that was just most clearly, obviously, like me, fictionalized, dealing with similar problems, and I'd watch my character go through it, see how my character dealt with it, and then I'd get through it. And there's this TV show I was developing for a long time, and it's still one of my favorite things I've ever written. Like I love the story here, um, and it was called 20 somethings, and the character that I had based off of myself, that I would have played in the show. Um, I was writing it at a time in my life where just I was in a bad place, man. I was just it was I was going through a lot. I was very depressed. I was living in a very negative environment. My seizures had just started. There's a lot mentally straining me. There's a lot on the mental health plate for sure. And so I wrote this series, and we needed to go back and flesh it out. And when we came back to it a few years later to start fleshing things out, it was so hard to sit down and get back into this frame of mind that I was in when I was writing it before, because I've gotten better, through so many different things. So it was hard to force yourself to go back into a dark state of mind to do something like
Yeah.
this. So that's definitely why it's good to try to get that stuff out while it's happening. Like I just finished or am finishing a second draft of the script that I wrote 5 years ago when everything was going on. And at the time, 5 years ago, I busted all of that out because I was feeling a lot and I wanted to get it all out. And then here I am 5 years later coming back to it. And I finally was to a point where I could put myself back into it and solely look at it from a creative standpoint. And it's better for that. But it's hard to get back into that frame of mind that originated some of that stuff. But it's
It
good
almost
to
puts you well, it almost puts you back there. And it's almost like that with music. It's like that with me too, man. I'm very method with it. You know what I mean? And I do like that. It's kind of why I'd been down, I guess, working with superhero music, and then Mage being like, do a Constantine track. I really wanted to get into that mindset, and it's like, man, it's gonna fuck me up a little bit, but let's
yeah.
do it. Like,
G said
I,
you almost brought a tear to his eye when y'all were recording it. He said that the other day to us. He's like, I didn't
yeah,
want to do it in front of Shep because I didn't know how it would make him feel, but when he did that Constantine song, I got a little tear to my eye, and I was like, damn, I'm gonna have to
and
listen to Bad Boy in full. I know we played a snippet of the song on our Wednesday show last week.
well, he was helping me with a couple parts on it, and it actually turned out really fucking well, man. A
I
lot better
honestly,
than
I got the opportunity. This is a side note, but I got the opportunity to listen to the entirety of superhero music, I believe, and y'all have something to look forward to this year. You got a lot of things to look forward to, but one of them you should put on your list is superhero music. You really need to keep an eye out for that because it's going to be sick as fuck.
man, it's 5 years in the making, so we definitely are gonna deliver on that 5 year wait. I feel like
Yeah,
it's gonna be like, oh, okay. I'm glad. Life, that's the biggest thing, and that is life has popped up and happens beautiful things. Mage got married. You know what I mean? He's been popping off with is battling.
rap. He's
Uh,
ranked seventh in the Chicago
yeah,
League. Hmm.
it's big, bro. Like we used to always tell him that he should aim for King of the Dot, this Canadian rap battle league. And he actually, not too long ago was approached by people
Yeah,
from there to be like, yo, we'd like you to come up. And I was like, I told you you'd be good, man. And so, like that's where all this has happened has been, you know, him living his life, him doing great. I've been living my life. I've been doing great. So
and that's what I
superhero,
this past
yeah,
year. I started living my life. Look at
yeah,
how
and
things
doing
have
great,
gone
man.
since I started living life for me and not for other people.
You got to live it for you, man, and do what makes you happy.
And I've my new favorite thing to tell people now is that I didn't feel like people were taking my dreams seriously enough, so I started working with a guy that dresses like a wizard because I felt like that would help.
And Connor, yes, video games, they've helped me, man. Skyrim saved my life a few times, bro. It's definitely kept me here when I've been depressed as fuck and had nobody else and felt very alone. It's like I've got the world of Skyrim to dive into
Mm,
and
yeah,
slay some dragons.
never underestimate escapist entertainment. There's a difference between completely escaping reality and never coming back. That's bad, as all
That's
things.
bad. That's bad.
We are pro marijuana here at the Chase and Shep show, but at the same time, like anything, video games, marijuana, it doesn't matter. Moderation, my dudes and ladies. It's
Yeah, and you can't do that forever.
yeah.
That's just a cope for a short period of time, but you gotta pick up and you gotta keep
You know
moving.
me. I love entertainment. I'm actually one of the hardest things for me in 2020 was there were certain things that I didn't think were affecting me regarding the lockdown and stuff until I realized they were affecting me.
Yep.
The movie theaters being shut down. A lot of people could give a shit. If the movie theater is open or closed, it doesn't matter. They're just going to stream stuff at home. For me, a movie theater is my church. Like genuinely, if I am having a hard time and I need to wind down and escape, I go to the movies. That's a place where nobody's gonna get a hold of me. I can't have my phone on and stuff. Like some people do it. Not me, man. I'm there for the movie. Like I'll hit you when it's done. But as far as I'm concerned, I have at least like the next 2 hours to sit here in the dark and go to another world. And that's part of the thing for me, that like with filmmaking, with working in the entertainment industry, it's never really been about like money and fame for me. At no point has it ever been about that. Like, you know, the money part would only be nice in the regard that like we can live, that we would be able to live and continue to do what we want to do for a living, you know. But otherwise, I want to do it because I want to help change the world. I want to do for people what entertainment has done for me my whole life. You know, y'all are saying video games, music. For me, it was movies. I could definitely go. If I hadn't just canceled Chasing Sundays an hour ago, uh, I could do Chasing Sunday just about movies that have saved my life, that have changed my life, that have come along at just the right time to give me a message that I needed to hear, to say, "Hey, man, you're not alone." Entertainment is a very powerful thing.
We'll have to do a Wednesday episode where we get into that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because we
The
talked
shit
about
that saved our lives.
yeah, we talked about the comic books that saved our lives
Yeah.
too. So
Very powerful stuff.
yeah,
Very
that'll
powerful.
be a good topic sometime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you never know. That might be coming at you on Wednesday.
Yeah, who knows?
The shit
Wednesday.
that saved
We
us
never have
lives.
anything planned for Wednesdays. That's why
Never.
it's WTF Wednesdays.
We go on the fly.
Uh, Shep, I don't know about you. I mean, I'm sure we could go on and on about this one, but it's been an hour, and so it's probably about that time to start wrapping up.
About time, man. Monday Night Raw's been going down, so got to get some body slams in before the night ends.
Slam my body into my bed. I think that's what I'm gonna do. Take a
Like I said, like I was telling you earlier, I didn't tell everybody, but I got some new bed sheets and shit today, so I am ready for bed
take care of
myself.
yourself.
Take care of yourself, man. Do stuff for you.
Treat yourself.
Treat yourself.
Um, Next week we're gonna have a special episode of Mental Health Monday. Old Shep here is gonna be sidelined next Monday, so that I can have a conversation. My apologies if I get your last name wrong here, but Christine Mariello is going to be on the show. I believe that's how you pronounce her last name. Um, she has a program called Transfer Out PNES, PNES being psychogenic non-epileptic seizures, which is what I have. And for me, in my journey, it's been very hard to find information on this. And when I do find information on it, it's been very discouraging. It really takes the wind out of my sails. And it's like this very negative feedback loop of being depressed and anxious and everything, and then getting bad news and continuing to be depressed and anxious. So we're going to have her on the show next week, so she and I can have a conversation and tell you guys more about this condition. And that way, not only will you be able to understand me a little better, but you will understand other people in the world who deal with this condition. And I hope that people who have the condition watch the episode and learn some stuff too. I'm hoping to learn some stuff myself. I'm very excited to talk with her. I'm
I'll
looking
be in
for
the chat. I'll be in the chat.
I know you'll be here.
I'll be here. One way or another, I'll
One
be
way or
here.
another. Shep's that dude. Well, for those of you that joined us today, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Monday. Hope this was a good start to your week. I'm planning on having a pretty good week myself. I hope you are as well, Shep.
It's shaping up to be pretty nice.
So until then, it's the Chase and Shep show with Shep and Chase. We'll see you on Wednesday.
Wednesday night, baby.